I know we talked a little about Georgetown earlier, but was there any extra motivation heading to that game for you personally?
Yeah, as a competitor, that's something that you always think about. Like, it's a school that's close to me that didn't even try to recruit me. So, I'm at this level now. I can show them, the type of player I am, and it's just that they might have missed out on something good here. But being back at home at Georgetown, I had a lot of friends and family there, and I didn't think I'd wake up and score 30 that day, but I knew I had a lot of fans and friends and family there, and people were telling me, just put on a show, like just you got a lot of people coming out, go out there, have fun, win, and I was able to see a couple go down, and then ended up having a career day.
What's going on today? I'm the host, Zach Schumaker, and joining me today is one-time Big East Player of the Week. He's a frontrunner for Big East Most Improved Player of the Year. He's the point guard that's helping lead Providence to the best start in 50 years with a 21-2 record now, and is also, as we speak, in first place of the Big East. And in my opinion, he's the best sixth man in the country. Jared Bynum, appreciate you coming on today, man.
Yeah, appreciate you having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, I'll obviously just mention that in the intro, and this is something that a lot of people are starting to talk about more and more now, and that's that this season you have become one of, and in my opinion, the best six man in the entire country. But that's not always an easy role for a lot of guys to get. Obviously, most guys want to start, and you end up playing most of the game anyways. But how have you learned to embrace this role and say, I was a starter, but now I'm coming off the bench after the injury. I'm going to embrace what Coach Cooley wants me doing. I'm going to buy into this role.
Yeah, definitely. All my life I've been a starter, and this is the first time, in the season where I've been, consistently been coming off the bench and kind of that six-man role. But at first I didn't really think too much of it. I just knew like coming off injury, you're not gonna go right back into the starting lineup as soon as you get back. But it started working for us, and my production was going up at a different level, and we were winning. So it was kind of like a formula that we had and a good rotation that we had, going into Big East play that's been working. So, I'm just embracing the role, and it's all about winning. Like whatever I can do when I get out there to help my team win. I'm not thinking about, if I'm starting a game or when I'm coming out or when I'm coming back in. I just know, when I get back out on the court, I got to do what I can and produce in any way I can to put my team in the best situation for us to win the game.
And the unique thing about that too is that you see any championship team, rather that be a high school, college, NBA level, the bench pieces are always huge, but especially that six man to have someone that can just at the very bare minimum come out and get you 15 or so points a game. But obviously you come out and you're able to facilitate, you steal, you're a great all-around player. But how would you say when you just look at the two differences between you start a game, you're a starter, you're out there from the get-go, to now coming off the bench, maybe sitting out 4 or 5, whatever it might be minutes to just kind of see how the game's going and whatnot. Has it been easier for you as you go into a game off the bench, or do you say it's easier for you when you start the game?
I'll say like, coming off the bench, like you said, that first 4, 5, 6 minutes before I come in the game, you can see like, how the game is going, the pace of the game, how the other team is guarding us, and how we're flowing on offense and how we're playing on defense. So I just look at it as, when I get in the game, based on those first couple of minutes, I see, what can I do to impact the game and change the game, whether it's for us to speed the game up or if we're in a scoring drought, hopefully come in and be able to help put some points on the board. Or if we got guys rolling already from the start of the game, I come in and keep feeding those guys and just play off them and then find my rhythm and flow throughout the course of the game. So I feel like I bring a lot of different things to the game, not just scoring, not just passing, not just defense. I can bring in a lot of things that we may be lacking or we might need an extra push on, based off the start of the game. So I kind of like seeing, how the course of the game is going. And then from there, I can, not necessarily make up my mind, but throughout the course of the game, figure out what I got to do in order to give us that extra push, throughout the rest of the game.
Did Coach Cooley come and say, Jared, you're coming back from your injury. Obviously, the first couple of games, you probably would have come off the bench anyways. But after that, did you just kind of have a sit down talk and say, we know that you're debatably the best player on this entire roster and you're one of the best guards in the country, period. But this is working for us. This is your six-man role. We're doing great. This is kind of where I want to keep you at. Did you embrace it right away? Or just how did this overall become where you've kind of been locked in now as this six man type of guy?
Yeah, we definitely had some conversations about it, or they asked me whether I wanted to come off the bench or if I wanted to start, and I basically told them, whatever you guys think is best for us. If you guys think we're better with me coming off the bench and have an impact on the game that way, or if you guys want to put me back in the starting lineup, I'm going to be ready for whatever situation. And they trusted me to give them my opinions on it, and I trusted them to make the final decision. So, once we decided that that's the route we were going to go with, I was all for it. I was cool with it, and I just, stayed in the gym and kept watching film for ways that I can continue to get better in order to make the best out of that role and out of that six-man situation.
We're gonna get more into this historic season on a little bit, but I want people to get to know your journey to this point because it wasn't just all the way through this. You've been a superstar, top player now with the spotlight on you. So I want people to get to know your background, how you became Jared Bynum, the guy that we all know, and more people will get to know. So we head all the way back. You're originally from the DMV, born in Maryland. What was it like growing up out there?
Back in the DMV, I always say we got the best basketball. We got the best players year in and year out. So, just growing up in that area and just growing up around basketball and in an athletic family. My dad played Division 1 basketball at Howard, and my mom also played volleyball there at Howard. So, I grew up from an athletic background, a competitive background, and all my life they always just instilled in me hard work and just putting in the consistent hours on a daily basis in order to be the best that you can be. And, if you want something, you got to strive for it. I've always been taught that nothing's going to be given to me. And that's something I learned just growing up in the DMV area, playing against other great guards and other great players as well. Like the competition level is so high. Like in order for you to separate yourself, you got to put in the consistent work. You got to put in the time to be great in order to, catch some guys. And at the same time, some guys are trying to catch you as well. So in order to keep that extra step or to reach that step where somebody else is at, you got to always stay in the gym, and not only in the gym, but you got to put the time in. You got to watch basketball. You got to be around basketball. You got to think basketball. So that's just something that my parents had and my coaches that I had at a young age had instilled in me since I first started playing basketball. It wasn't just always just go out there and have fun. It was go out there and compete and play to the highest level that you can, because the next guy that you're going against, they're going to be doing the same thing.
Mhm. When you look at the DMV area, as you said, that's not necessarily one of the top states because it's not a specific state, but in terms of areas, that's up there historically. It's great now. It's been historically great. I'm sure it's going to be great in the future. And it's right up there with the boroughs out there in New York, your LA area and California, and those type of special basketball areas. So was basketball the sport that you just were born with and you said, this is the sport I want to play from here on out? Was it a couple mixture of sports you played growing up, or how did you fall in love with the game?
Growing up, I played a lot of sports. Like my parents had me in. I was playing soccer, baseball. I played flag football. So it was always like a mixture of other sports and other activities. But when it was all said and done, like when I was going back home, I was turning on the basketball games. Whoever was playing, I was watching that. Or if I didn't have anything else to do and I had all my homework done and I didn't have practice, I was going outside trying to play basketball or trying to find where guys were playing at, because that's what I wanted to do at the end of the day. And then ultimately, when you had to make that decision between what sport you're going to focus on, I always knew it would be basketball. So when I made that decision, from then on, it's just been like a business kind of like outlook on it. Like I want to play at the highest level. I want to be a Division 1 guard. I want to be a high major guard. So ever since then, I just been putting the work in, and then my parents did a good job of putting me in the situations where I could showcase my abilities and show what I can do to the highest level. And I'm grateful for that.
When you look at the history of the DMV, there's obviously your star players that are the great players in the NBA today, the Kevin Durant's and the Beasleys and all those type of guys. But there's just a long list of guys that have been just successful NBA players that played overseas, great college players. So when you look at that environment where you're playing throughout AAU in high school, you're going to go up against guys that could be in the NBA in the future, D1 players. How big is that? And just what's the environment like in terms of basketball out there?
Basketball back in the DMV, it's always buzzing, like year round, winter, spring, summer, fall. Like that's what it is basketball. You can always find, some kind of AAU games or when everybody's back at home after this season, you end up in the gym with some overseas guys or guys that are playing in the NBA. So wherever you're at in the DMV and you want to play basketball, I feel like you can always find like quality guys to play against that you can measure yourself up against and see what kind of level you're at, but also to learn and see what you got to work on and see what they're good at in order to put that into your game, and then hopefully you'll be able to reach that level.
Is there a certain mentality that comes with being from the DMV? I know there's some different areas that you kind of, when you come from that area, you grow up in that type of environment, not just even on the court, but on and off the court. What's the mentality that comes with being from the DMV?
I just think being from the DMV, like the talent pool is so heavy. Like you gotta find a way to separate yourself in order to stand out, because there's so many good players back in the DMV that you might not even know about them, but once you go out there, you don't want to take anybody lightly, because anybody is capable of having a good day. Anybody's capable of getting the best of you. So you got to have that mentality of just bringing it every night, every game, and because you don't want to look back later on and say, "Wow, I really took that guy lightly," or I didn't bring it today, and they get the best of you. So I just always think like I was growing up, I was playing against guys that were trying to get at me too, the same way I'm trying to get at other players. And you just got to bring it every night. You got to have a different mentality when you step on the court. You just got to be locked in from the moment you're on the court to the moment you're off the court, because back in the DMV, there's no matchup that you can really take lightly. You just got to show up every night.
Who would you say was one player that you knew was going to be dominant throughout your time out there? So probably about that 6 year span from you in middle school to high school, all the guys that played during that era. What guy would you say became the star and you kind of the whole time you knew, okay, he's going to be special. He's legit. Now he's become that. And also, what's maybe been the most shocking player that was just maybe a decent play in the DMV that's now become a star player?
It is a couple guys that I thought, like, just growing up, like even before I was playing high school, like guys that I would watch in middle school when I would go to high school games, guys like Nate Britt, for one. He played at Gonzaga, and he's a guy that I was able to get in the gym with him a couple of times. And even now, like when I go back home, we would still bump into each other in the gym. So just seeing him and seeing the way he did things when he was in high school, like me watching him in middle school, I was just thinking like I want to do it at that level. And then him going to UNC and playing at that level as well, it was just cool to see like somebody that I was able to watch before I got to high school, and had the luxury to be in the gym with them and learn from them. Being able to do that, and just see the work ethic and the time they put in, how much they cared about basketball. Being able to see that definitely had helped me. And even guys like Markel Starks, who played at my high school, years before I got there, and played in the Big East. He's a guy I got a good connection with, and we talk, and he's always on me about the Big East. You gotta bring it every night. You can't take a night off. So being able to be in the gym with him as well is just being grateful that I was able to be around guys like that were able to make it to that level.
You also talked about your parents and you grew up in an athletic background. So just being an athletic type of person, a guy that loves sports was kind of in your blood already. How big was that for you though, to have a dad especially that could understand the game of basketball? You could kind of learn from that in that sense. You knew an idea of how it works out. And also just your mom going through sports, knowing how to play at the collegiate level too. How big has that been for your career?
Oh, that's been huge for my career, because they never let me take any days off. If it was times I tell them like I don't know if I got it today, I don't know if I could do it today. My mom was right there like, no, you got to put in the work. Like she's taking me to practices, she's taking me to work out. Same thing with my dad. He picked me up after school, middle school, and I'm going right to the gym, not even going home, eating in the car, going straight to workouts, and changing in the car because we might be a little bit late. But they know what it takes to get to the level that they got to, and for them to be able to stay on me and being hard on me about being in the gym, putting the time in, doing the right things on and off the court. Just having like kind of that structure, that system back at home, to be able to know what it takes to make it at an athletic level that they did. That's something I'm grateful for, because this stuff now is finally it's showing up just based on years I put in and years of them being with me, and sticking by my side through the good days and the bad days, just consistently reminding me that I got to put the work in, and to just believe in myself is just something I'm grateful to have.
I have to imagine that you and your dad got on the court at some point throughout your guys' lives and played one on one or king of the court or something. How those games go?
But the only game I can remember was the one game. One game I almost beat him, but I didn't. I was real mad, like throwing the ball, like getting upset. And he was telling me like, "You'll never beat me. I'm never gonna let you beat me," and stuff like that. But he hasn't played me since, so I feel like that's a good thing. He don't want to play me no more. But just being able to compete with somebody like that, like as your dad, is something good to see.
When was the point that you started feeling that, okay, I truly do want to lock in on basketball? Everything else is great, but I want this to be something that, at the very bare minimum, I want to go play collegiately in. When did that start happening for you?
I say sixth grade after nationals. I played with DC Assault, and we actually won the nationals that year. And that's when I kind of realized like I got a chance to be really good at this. I got a chance to take my game to the next level, to get to the collegiate level that I always watch on TV, or the
Mhm.
guys that I always see in the gym. Like I can really get to this level if I put the work in, if I believe in myself. So yeah, I'll say sixth grade, yeah, was the time I really started believing that.
The unique part about you is that obviously everyone knows it today. You still aren't the tallest player in the world. You're 5'10", and that's not easy. Majority of point guards and even average point guards today in basketball, they're going to be 6'2" and possibly 6'3". Some guys are seeing at 6'11" now at the guard spot. How did you handle that? Because that's obviously is in a sense to a lot of people's mindset, at least it's a disadvantage for a lot of people, but it has been done by countless players as well. So how did you learn to take in saying, I'm probably going to be the smallest guy on the court majority of my time I'm playing? How did you end up using that to your advantage, and how did you embrace that to any degree?
Yeah, being a smaller guard, and especially at this level, you gotta have that chip on your shoulder. Like I'm not blessed with the athletic ability as everybody else. I don't have the size as everybody else. I don't have the strength for everybody else. But I got that chip on my shoulder that if I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna prove why I'm out there, and that not only I'm out there to that I'm good enough, but I want to prove that I'm better than some of these guys. So just having that chip on my shoulder just motivated me to keep working. Not to listen to the negatives that people were saying, about my height, or that I'm too small, or I'm not athletic enough. I don't jump high enough. Stuff like that. I just kind of let it go through one ear and out the other, and control what I can control, which is staying in the gym and improving on stuff that other people might have in their weaknesses, to where I can, make up for that, whether it's making shots, or, getting my teammates involved, or being a pest on defense, and being in the best shape, because, to just limit as much things that people could say that I don't have, overcome that with things that I can do well while I'm on the court.
You're someone that I feel like so many fans are able to get behind. That's why you're already becoming such a big fan favorite now. And that's because, like you just said, and you look at pretty much anyone in the world, they have a shot at being someone like you, someone like Zion Williamson, or any other type of guys. Like majority of people are just not going to be able to do that stuff. But your story is where you've been able to work to get to this point. You don't have the height, you don't have the athleticism or any of that stuff. It's purely just you've outworked pretty much anyone else in your life. You've been out there and you've got so much more skill than so many of the players out in the country. How have you been able to lock in and just what's it taken for you to be able to get to this point where you have become one of the best guards without any of the other traits that a lot of guys might have?
Just staying in the gym, just strengthening my skills is a key. And also mentally, like I feel like this year mentally, I'm just on like a different level of how I think of myself and how I approach the game of basketball. I'm not necessarily worried about what people say I can't do, but just focusing on what I can do, and trying to do that at a high level. And ultimately, it's going to help me produce more in the games, and then help us win games. So when you're winning, everybody loves a winner. So you don't hear too much about the negatives that people say about you, or the weaknesses that you have. So just really just mentally believing in myself, and then having great coaches and great teammates and a great support system behind me, encouraging me and reminding me that I belong, and that I do have what it takes to be at that level.
Let's go into that high school career for yourself because you create a pretty good legacy out there and you have a really great run over your high school career. But just for starters, you head into high school. If someone would have told you that leaving high school, you still would have been able to go Division 1, you had all these offers on the table for yourself. Would you have believed that? Was that something that you knew was going to happen? Did you maybe go past what you expected for yourself? Was it less than you expected? Or what would your thoughts have been of you as a player before you even stepped foot in high school?
Yeah, I kind of always thought, I was going to be good enough to be a high major guard and produce at this level. And it was just something I had to remind myself every day, just, stay in the gym and control what I can in order to get to that level. So, whether that took, staying after practice a couple hours, couple minutes later to get some more shots up, or coming in earlier, or waking up early in the morning before school to get in the gym and work out, or coming back to the gym at night to continue to improve, continue to get better. Like that was just something I always believed, but I knew it would take hard work. I knew it would take, some kind of determination to stick with it. Even, it was days that wasn't so good. Just being able to remind myself like this is what I want to do. I know I'm gonna get to this level. I know I belong there. So just that just drove me to continue to get better.
You decided to go to Georgetown Prep. Take us to the decision. Like, why was that the school you wanted to play your high school career at?
Well, I developed a good relationship with the coaches before I got there. Like we kind of built that relationship throughout middle school. They would come see me play, and I would go to a couple of their games. So, I just grew a good relationship with the coaches. So then when I got there, we kind of skipped the process of them having to get to know me, and I had to get to know them. We kind of, knew each other on a certain level already, and then just the school itself, like it's a great academic school, and it was a place where I felt like I would be able to be myself, to like show what I can really do, whenever I'm out on the court. But also to just, make relationships with the people they got there. I feel like, that's changed my life a lot. Like they have a great support system behind me, and I'm grateful for them. And just it was just such a it was kind of like an easy decision, I would say. And
Mhm.
they just supported me since day one, since I first kind of got involved with them. And moving forward, I'm glad I went there. Like that was one of the best decisions I made in my life, just going there. And not only was it basketball related, but it was like a community there that I wanted to be a part of, and they had a good coaching staff there as well. So it was just something I felt like somewhere I felt like I would belong, and I'll be able to thrive and really showcase who I am, not only on the court but as a person as well.
Let's go through your underclassmen years first. I know your upperclassmen years are really when you take a big jump, but how big were those underclassmen years for you in terms of development and helping you then prepare you for your upperclassmen years?
Yeah, like being on the team as a freshman and a sophomore, I was the only freshman on varsity, and I ended up starting on varsity and playing a lot of games. And then, that just helped me build my confidence throughout the years of going into the sophomore year and then junior year and then senior year, just being a part of a team that, I helped build up since I was there since freshman year. So once I became an upperclassman, I knew what it took to win games, to be a good team, to be a team that was going to be respected in the DMV area. I kind of knew what it took. So when I got older, I had already went through some of those, learning periods and stuff like that. And was able to look back at those moments and in order to know what it took to continue to win as I grew older.
When that first offer came in for you, take us through your reaction to what was it like when you first started realizing, okay, I'm a Division I player now. Just walk us through that first time you got that offer.
Yeah, I think my first offer was freshman year spring from George Mason, and I was excited, like I was happy. It was my first offer. Like it was kind of like a checkpoint to me. Like I was just like, I got the first offer. This is something I wanted to do, like play Division I. But then it just drove me to keep working harder, because offers aren't always sustainable throughout the year. So I just wanted to prove that I belonged. Like I know some people probably saw as like, wow, I can't believe you got an offer already. Or, some people were happy for me. They're like, I'm glad you got your first offer. But, in my mind, I knew it was a great thing. But at the same time, when you get success, it just drove me to keep working harder, to keep going. Cause, just I didn't want to get there just to get the offer. I wanted to get there to get to that level and play at that level. So that just drove me to keep working even more.
You had a couple of good teammates that are also playing collegiate basketball right now. One of them is Mezzi, the other one's Camden. Walk us through those two. Like, how did you guys bond, grow throughout your guys' career there, and just what was like playing alongside them?
Yeah, I played with them for 3 years. I think Mezzi was on JV my freshman year, and Camden was in the eighth grade my freshman year. So when they came to the team when I was a sophomore, we kind of gelled real good. Camden was kind of younger, so I was being able to, not necessarily show them the ropes, but being in high school already and playing those games and being in those battles, I kind of knew somewhat had some experience of what it took. So being able to, help him and him being able to help me at the same time on the court was something great for us. And then, Mezzi, he kind of blew up early in his high school career. I think sophomore year he started getting a lot of high major offers. So I was glad to play with somebody at that level, somebody that was like, as athletic as him and had such a good skill set. Being able to play with them, it was just something good. And then those are two guys that were hard workers. They were in the gym just as much as I was. And I got to get a shout out to my man Ike. He's playing at Columbia now too. So, he's another guy that loves the game and was in the gym and was a big piece of our high school team. So those guys I got to give a lot of credit to.
Where you talk about the DMV area and the guys that you're going up against too were obviously top level guys night in, night out. So who would you say though was your favorite matchup? Was it a player specifically or a team? Like who was the team that you enjoyed going up against the most throughout high school?
I gotta say the Bullet School. That's definitely my like kind of rival in basketball, and I felt like that was my rival because one of my best friends, Valdo Morris, he played there as well. He plays at James Madison now. Me and him were kind of like the matchup in our conference. Like whenever we played each other, you knew it was gonna be a good game. You knew it was gonna be a good matchup. So I gotta say them. They were definitely like our rival, my favorite team to play against because you knew it was gonna be a good game. No matter who they had on the team, no matter who played well, who didn't play well, it was gonna be a good game. All the fans came out for that game. So yeah, I gotta say Bullets.
Well, let's go through your upperclassmen years then. Your junior season, you end up averaging 16 points a game, 5 assists. Your senior year is your huge year where you win player of the year, you get all metro, you get a whole lot of different awards that senior season. So just take us through your upperclassmen years a little bit.
Yeah, that's kind of when I knew like this, you got to make that jump in order to get to that level that you want to get to. So, I spent a lot of time in the summer, adding some things to my game, tweaking some things just to, make me a better player. And then, I just felt like being on the team for 2 years now, junior, senior year, it's time for us to win, just to improve that culture that we were establishing at Georgetown Prep. So my junior year, we had a good year, and then building off that to my senior year, being able to make all med and win a championship and get player of the year. I just got to credit that to the work we put in and the help I got from my coaches and everybody behind me. And it was just amazing feeling, being able to cut down the nets and taking the pictures with the trophy. It was just a good feeling with the student section behind us and the whole school behind us. It was a great experience.
When you look back at your entire high school career, what would you say was your favorite memory you created?
Favorite memory? I don't know. We had a lot of good games. I'll say our best game was probably we played in the National Hoops Fest at DeMatha, and it was a lot of big names there. And we played West Town where they had Cam Reddish and Jalen Gaffney, who's at UConn now. So I always think back to that game as kind of like a highlight of, especially of our senior year, because once we won that game, that just helped our confidence. Because a lot of people were doubting us, going into the game. Even guys that I knew that were at the game cheering against us, they were, cheering for the other team and stuff like that. So in that environment, playing there with a lot of like reporters and fans and people that just love basketball in the area, being able to win that game and play on that level, that was kind of like it felt like a college game to me, just how loud it was and the environment, how much buzz was there. So I feel like that's probably one of the, if not the best, it's definitely one of the best moments.
You look through your other entire everything you achieved throughout high school wise, the awards, the accolades, everything else you got throughout it. Would you say that that was a successful high school career? Did you accomplish everything you wanted to? Did you achieve exactly what your dreams were? Or did you fall short of that a little bit? Or how would you grade your overall high school career?
I'll say my high school career was a great one. I can't complain. I won a championship. I was player of the year. Of course, there's other awards that you want to win, but I just focused on what I was able to do, and even getting that success, I knew I had to keep working and just keep working. But yeah, my high school career it was great. It's only but so much you can change in high school, and I'm just glad of after high school it prepared me for being a better man and becoming a better basketball player. So I'm grateful for the high school years, and yeah, I feel like it was a successful career.
You also look at the recruiting aspect for yourself, and that's something that for you, you had offers on the table, knowing where you are today and the player you become, there should have been obviously a lot more offers. But on the other hand of that, though, too, you had the ranking aspect. And that's something that I've always been someone that's not a big fan of them. They are what they are. But you got ranked 374 on 24/7. That's the only site you came in on. How did you deal with that as a player? Because I know some guys look at rankings a lot more than others, but how did you feel looking at that and saying, people obviously are sleeping on me. I'm not someone that's viewed as highly as I probably feel like I should be. How did you deal with that?
Yeah, I didn't really look too much into high school rankings. Like, when they came out, it would have been cool, if I was on there. But at the end of the day, I knew it was opinion based on, some guys' opinions on other players, and I didn't really think too much of it. I just knew like some of those guys I would match up with eventually, and I just wanted to go out there and prove that I'm in the same category as those guys. I'm on the same level as those guys. So if anything, the rankings just drove me to just keep going and keep going because there's not being on those rankings, that means there's still some doubters out there. And eventually I knew my time would come where I would match up with some of these guys, whether it would be high school, AAU, or even in college. So I just knew, like, I remember like some of the people that were ranked above me that I matched up with before, or some guys that I didn't get to match up with. Being able to play against some of those guys has been cool.
When you looked at yourself at that point in time, where would you have viewed yourself? Obviously, if we re-ranked, I'm not sure exactly where you'd come in at, but it's safe to assume you'd probably be somewhere in the top 100 at the very least. So, where did you feel? Did you just feel like at that point in time you were slept on? Do you felt like you were a talent of a top 100 player? Or has it been just over the past 4 years of your college career, you've really jumped and developed into becoming a far better player than you probably may even expect at that point?
Yeah, I felt like, especially after my senior year, I felt like I would have been a top 100 player, but
Mm.
it's something I can't control. I don't make the rankings, but I just knew like my time would come eventually, and I'm glad some people are seeing the work I put in now to get to the level where I'm at, and I kind of knew like I would be able to play at this level. I just knew it would take a lot of hard work, and it wasn't always going to be good. Like you're not always going to have good days. You're not always going to have good games. And I just knew like you just gotta take the good with the bad, and move on from there. And there's always gonna be another day to get better, another day to prove to yourself how good you are, prove to others how good you are. And I personally think I definitely would have been a top 100 player, but it was just something like if it did, I just look at it like if I was a top 100 player back then, maybe I might not have worked as hard as I did moving forward to become the player I am now. So, everything happens for a reason. And, looking back, I'm not even upset really not being mentioned as much in the rankings or in that caliber. So, I'm just glad I got to the point where I'm able to perform that how I am now.
You just mentioned a huge piece there that I've always thought of too. When you look at a lot of guys, and that's that when some guys do get ranked, and this doesn't count for everybody, but some guys do say, okay, I've made it now. For whatever reason that is, guys say, okay, I'm in high school, I'm a top 100 recruit, I have these offers, I made it. And for some guys, maybe the dream truly is they just want to be ranked their entire life and play in college for a couple of years. Like that's their only dream. But for those that want to play at a high level in college or even in the NBA someday, it can't stop there. The high school doesn't really mean anything. You've got a long journey still to get to those different points. So, how big has it been? Was it even maybe a chip on your shoulder saying, people undervalue me. People don't think I'm as good as I know I can be. Was that kind of a chip for you heading into college then?
Yeah, definitely coming into college, I definitely had that chip of, it doesn't stop now. Like, I had a good high school career. I just always thought, it's still some things I can do better, but it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't stop here. I got to keep going. Now I'm going to college, which is another different level. Is better players, better coaches. You're going to be in a battle pretty much every night. So even when I had good games in college, and I felt like the hard work is showing and it's paying off, I still knew that it was going to be another level that I had to get to. So the more and more I got that success, the more my chip on my shoulder grew, and knowing that I had to keep going and keep going because there's still going to be some doubters out there.
Let's get into the recruiting aspect for you. And we know you end up choosing St. Joseph's, but you had offers on the table like George Mason, I know was in play, Towson, Kansas State. Walk us through the recruiting process. Like, who did this truly come down to? Was there a final two for you? A couple of little guys that you were looking at school wise? Like, what did this recruiting process come down for you when you're coming down to the end of it?
So in high school, I actually only took one visit to St. Joe's, and after after that visit, I took some time to think, and I was just like, well, I feel like this is the best option for me as a player. Being able to play for a coach like Coach Martelli and the staff that they had, and being somewhat close to home in Philly, which is a great basketball city as well. I just felt like that was the place for me to be at, and we built me and the coaching staff built such a good relationship that I trusted them and they trusted me, and everything they said to me that I'm not saying they made promises, but everything that we talked about, it kind of just like it felt right for me to trust them and to play for them, and they helped me get better and they helped me become a better player and a better man. So I just felt like, that was the coaches that I felt like I would be able to thrive for. And, they would help me and I would help them. So that just felt like it just felt like the right decision when the time came.
Growing up, was there a dream school for you? Was there a school that every night that they came on, you want to go out and watch them? You love the players they had, you love the coaching staff. And if so, what team was that?
I wouldn't say it was like a specific team, but I always wanted to play. It's funny because I always wanted to play in the Big East. Like every night, I'll turn on some games. There'd be a Big East game on. Like I remember watching Scotty Reynolds at Villanova, watching him play, or Kimba when he was at UConn, watching him. And it was just such great guards in the Big East. Like that's what I was watching all the time, and I was just always thinking to myself, this is the level I want to be at. This is the conference I want to play in. Like I know a lot of guys say like they want to play in the ACC or the SEC or the Big 12 or something like that, but for me it was the Big East. So
I know some people obviously look at the past team that you just went up and you had your career high on is against Georgetown, but was that a school that you were looking at and saying, I wish I could have gotten an offer from that school that would have been someone I wanted? Or was that something just like you said, I just really want to play in the Big East. It didn't really matter what school it was?
yeah, I mean, it would have been great because Georgetown is probably 20 minutes from my house, so them being so close and them having such a good culture and them being in the Big East, I definitely would have had to consider them just because like it's Georgetown and they're right there, and I've been to plenty of Georgetown games, and I know the city well, so that would have definitely been cool. But I never really thought like it was one school that I wanted to play for. I just always kept my options open, but I knew like being in the Big East, that's just kind of like the level I always thought of as like the highest level in college.
Well, you look at St. Joseph's, then you go to the A10, which is a conference that a player like you would thrive in. A guy with a dog mentality, they're pretty much, for the most part at least, dominated by guard spots. Obviously, you see guys like Obi Toppin come out and do what he does, but almost every team has that guard, and a lot of the times they are smaller. The guys that are 6 foot or under. So you go out there and you end up becoming a perfect fit right out the gate for them. But what was just like getting ready for that freshman season as you're just getting ready to get on campus, you're preparing for your freshman year? What was your expectations heading into your first year of college?
Well, I was like really excited that I was moving in the summer. I'm like, wow, I'm about to start summer workouts in college here. Like it was a great moment. Like I just sit back and think like I really am about to start college basketball soon, and I had high expectations for myself. Just being the competitor I am, I wanted to play big minutes. I wanted to start. Like being able to start as a freshman was amazing for me. Just knowing how much work I put in to get to that point. And I never really thought like I got to average this amount of points. I got to average this amount of assists. I just wanted to have an impact on the game and do what I could to win. So when it came down to it, I was just really excited to get to that level and to work with new guys and a new team and a new program. And I was just really excited, and I was just ready to go.
You have a season that very well could have won you the freshman of the year in that conference. Obviously, there's a guy named Obi Toppin who is pretty good, as we all saw, become who he obviously is today now. But did you kind of expect you to be a guy that would go out there and start pretty much every game of your freshman season, be a guy that's going to become an impact guy from day one of the leaders of the team? Was that in your expectations for their freshman season?
At first, not really. At first, I was kind of thinking, first couple weeks come in and learn the ropes of college and things like that. But eventually, the more I was out there and the more I kept playing, my confidence kept growing and growing. And I always thought I was a good basketball player. I always thought I would be the leader of the team, on whatever team I'd be on. And that just kind of like just fueled me to keep going. And then eventually, I got to the point where I was like, I got to step up now. I'm playing a lot of minutes. I'm getting a lot of opportunities. I gotta produce on a certain level because this is the opportunity I was given. I just took a lot of time to think and mentally prepare myself for that role.
And a lot of guys, when they go into a freshman season, it's obviously they expect to become a great player out of the gate. But something that was unique about you, and Coach Martelli talked about that back when he was your coach, and it was that you were a freshman, you were a freshman mindset, you're a freshman player that has never played college before, but you had the mindset almost as if you were a veteran. You came in, you just had a certain maturity about yourself that you just had a composure. And we see that today. Obviously, it's the very same you. You go out there and you never rattled. So how did that mentality and how did that personality trait that you have on the court get instilled in you?
Oh well, when I first got to St. Joe's, like I remember my first summer workout. Coach Martelli he would tell me like, "You're not a freshman. Don't think that you're a freshman." Like he didn't want me to fall into that freshman mentality of taking a step back and limiting myself. So, he always reminded me like, you're not a freshman. You're not a freshman. We didn't bring you here to be a freshman. We want you here to be yourself and play the way that we know you can. So that kind of just set the tone for me throughout the year that I got to carry myself as if I've been here. And that's just something I always kept with me. And then, I had great coaches growing up before I got to college. So they always instilled in me of, being that point guard, being that leader. You gotta stay steady, you gotta keep your head straight. Mentally, you gotta be tough. So I just think all that adds up to creating that mindset that I have of, being out on the court, being myself and, understanding the pace and the flow of the game and the flow of the team and the rhythm of the team. And I think that all that just adds up into one.
You had a guy that's now playing the NBA today on that team, and Charlie Brown, and he is someone that I feel like some of you guys don't understand the value, at least fans and all, of having someone that is an experienced player that's able to go to the NBA, having that for a young player. Because even if he's not necessarily directly your position, or even if you're not best friends with him, or whatever it might be, just seeing someone for an entire year or more, even potentially, where you just get to learn, see the steps, see what it looks like to be a guy that could play in the NBA someday. How important was Charlie just throughout your freshman season? It was how much did you learn from being around him that year?
Yeah, one thing I learned from him was just his work ethic. Like every day before practice, he was in there getting shots up, or after practice, he was in there getting shots up. And, he was just always working on the little things like just one dribble pull up or, just getting to the elbow, pulling up, repping it multiple times a day. And then, it's been days where I saw him make 100 free throws in a row, like, small stuff like that people take for granted. So, seeing somebody like that who's been there, been on a team before me, seeing him work that hard and work like that, and then seeing him being able to get to the NBA just shows that like if you put the work in and you got your stuff and you got your mind in the right space, then it can be done.
What's your favorite memory that you created that year with Charlie?
Favorite memory? I don't know. It's a couple. I probably have to say the St. Louis game. At home, I remember it was like a real emotional night. I think Coach Martelli's dad had passed a couple of days before. I can't remember if it was dad or somebody's fan. It might have been his dad, but it was like a real emotional game. And I think that game, I think I had like 20 points, and Charlie probably had like 28 points, and he put on like a crazy shooting display, and just being able to win that game for Coach Martelli in such an emotional way. It was just a great moment between me and him. And then I remember after the game, like just me and Charlie talking about how the game went, that we were able to do that for Coach. It was a great experience.
After the season, Coach Martelli gets let go. But before we get into the whole portal process and you end up going to where your new home is at, do you feel that that year was critical in terms of making you who you are today? Or if you were a guy that coming out of high school, Providence wanted you, pursued you, and you went there as a freshman, do you think you'd still be the same player that you are today?
I'm not sure. I don't know how much I would have got better, or where I would be today if that did happen. I just know like certain things happen for a reason. So
Mm-hmm.
just being able to end up here and being able to play here at this time. I just think like you can't really put a timeline on like if they did recruit me in high school that I probably would go there, and then if they did, I could have ended up somewhere else and not transferring here. So I just think like things happen for a reason, and you don't always know why. You don't always got the answer, but when they do, you just got to take the opportunity and run with it.
Do you feel that if Coach Martelli would have still been the coach that next season, you heading into sophomore season, same coaching staff, nothing happened for the most part, would you probably have still stayed out there? Would you still have been a member of St. Joseph for your sophomore season? Or was it just once Coach Martelli got let go, you said, okay, I want to reevaluate everything, and I think this is the decision I want to go with. I want to go to the portal.
Yeah. I always told people like, I was staying for my sophomore year. It was never in my mind to transfer
Mhm.
after my freshman year or anything like that. But once it did happen, I just felt like it's another opportunity for me to explore my options, and I know I had a good year and see where I end up, and then being able to weigh those options between the different schools that were recruiting me to transfer there, I just felt like Providence was the best option for me. Being able to figure out that situation and make the right choice for me, I think that definitely helped.
When you went through that process, I know a lot more schools than just Providence was in the mix for you. So who did it come down to? Was there another school you were highly favoring, a school that you were really excited about too, that kind of went side by side with Providence, or was it just Providence right out the gate? They were the winners. You just want to go there right from the get go.
I had talked to a lot of schools, like other Big East schools as well, like Seton Hall, Butler, a couple of ACC schools like Clemson for some time. But once I took the visit to Providence and was able to see it and see the community and such like a basketball city, and they got such a good culture here within the program. I just kind of felt like Coach Cooley was somebody I wanted to play for. I wanted to be around coaches, and being able to be coached by somebody like Jeff Battle, who had coached a lot of point guards in his previous years, just being able to get that experience and learn and to play for them, I just felt like that was the best option for me.
And the unique thing about what you went through is that at that point in time, you had to go sit out the redshirt season. I know there still were exceptions that were rarely given, but now today, the new rule is we could just go anywhere and play right away. For some guys, though, a lot of guys at least say, you know what, that looking back at it, that redshirt year helped me tremendously as a player, helped me learn the system, helped me learn the school, the campus. Was that redshirt season very beneficial for you? Did that help you heading into now your Providence career, or would you, if you could have gone back, like would you? Do you think you could have just been ready and you wanted to go right out and play right away?
I think the red shirt year definitely helped me because I was able to take that year to really learn the program, know what the coaches want, being able to take a year to just get better, improve my body, just improve my game overall, and then just to like get accustomed to the new city, the new school. I think that all took a factor in the being able to help me thrive, and playing against we had a great team that year, and being able to play against those guys on a daily basis, every day in practice, whether it was pickup or even just working out with those guys, being able to learn from some of the older guys we had on the team, and build relationships with guys that I would be on the court with, moving forward. I think that year definitely helped.
I want to ask you too, just in terms of the new rule that's been set now, in terms of just being able to go out there and play right away, is that something that you're in favor for? Because I know from my aspect, I think there are some cases where guys are more than ready. There might be a star player transferring, whatever, and they could go right away. Or especially even like your guys that are fifth or sixth year guys, like they know what they're doing, they're experienced, they know what college is. But I feel like for a lot of young guys, like you kind of said, like it helps so many guys develop when they're younger. But what's your thoughts? Like, do you think the new rule is beneficial? Just having guys be able to come out and transfer and play right away, or is it better for guys to take that extra year to develop and it's kind of learn the system?
I personally think guys should be able to transfer and play right away, especially if it's a one-time transfer.
Yeah.
You know, just for like, because nobody really wants to miss a whole season of basketball.
Yeah.
Like for me, the redshirt year was good. Like it helped me, but at the same time, like it was kind of tough because that was the first year that I really like wasn't playing games. I wasn't, suiting up, getting ready to go out there and play. But I definitely think guys should be able to transfer one time and being able to play right away the next year. Because to me, it's just like a freshman going into college, they're able to
Yep.
play right away. So that's just kind of how I look at it.
And you had a couple different guys that you got to learn from and develop in that retro season for yourself. One guy that you also get to play a year with too is David, who's with the Nets now. But just going through the entire course of the season where you have to go up against a guy like David Duke night, every single day of practice, throughout the drills, everything, and list goes on, different guys you guys have on that roster too. What was that year like for you? And what would you say was the biggest thing that you developed in and grew in as a player throughout your first season in your redshirt year?
Being able to play against those guys, they were Big East guys coming out of high school, and just being able to get accustomed to playing against the physicality that they play with in practice every day, and they just prepared me like mentally in my mindset for what I would be up against when I got there and when I was able to play, because you really don't know what it's like until you're out there. But being able to play against some of those guys before, it was kind of cool, like, to see that I actually ended up at Providence and playing with those guys. Like I tell them all the time, like, I actually saw you guys play such and such game, or, things like that. So just, playing against guys like David and Luwan Pipkins, and there was another guy that transferred from the A-10. So playing against those guys every day and being able to work out with them, it definitely helped my game.
We talked about Charlie earlier, and once again, you have another guy that at the time I was still kind of shocked. I know he was projected as a lottery pick for most of the season. Then he had a couple of different rough games second half of the season, but he ended up going undrafted for whatever reason. Now he's doing his thing with the Brooklyn Nets, and that is David. What was it like playing with him for 1 year and then also just being around him for 2 years? How special was he, and just what was it like just day in, day out going through practice with him?
Just being able to see, he's kind of like guy like me that just believed in his work ethic, and he's a guy like, especially seeing my redshirt year, seeing like after every game he was first one in the gym getting up shots. He was the last guy to lead the gym, just working out, or not even on the court, off the court. He was always in the training room working on his body, keeping his body fresh for the long season. And just seeing him and the way he approached the game on such like a professional level is no surprise to me that he's in the NBA, and somebody at that size and with that skill set, and with that mentality, being around that, it kind of feeds off on you, and it feeds off on the rest of the team. So just being able to see somebody like that do things like that on firsthand on a daily basis was cool.
So now, what's your favorite memory that you created with David throughout your 2 years there?
Favorite memory? I don't know. I actually don't know our favorite memory, just because me and David, like, we were on the team together. We played a lot of games together. We did a lot of practices, a lot of workouts, and we stayed in the same dorm, so we were hanging out a lot. And
Mm-hmm.
that was just my guy at the time. And while I was here, we spent a lot of time together, talking basketball all the time. We had such a good relationship for his time being here. There's a lot of things I could think about, but I can't really pinpoint one memory. He was just somebody that we still talk today, and hit me up after a game, or I hit him after a game, just checking in and see how he's doing. So that's a great guy. I'm glad to call him a friend and a teammate, and
Mm-hmm.
somebody I'm sure I'll be cool with, for the rest of my life.
And there's another person that I really do want to get into, and that's Coach Cooley, because he's had one heck of a turnaround, which is why he's my favorite for Coach of the Year right now. And obviously, I mean, I know some people media wise said he's on the hot seat. I don't know how much factual is behind that, because it's a COVID season. You guys still made it 500 and a lot of stuff happened there. But his track record overall has always been as a solid coach. And now this year, he's been incredible. But what a lot of people don't see of coaches is what they're like off the court. We've seen some interviews they might have, or we see them on the court, but there's always that different personality, or maybe in some cases, it's the same personality all the way through. What is Coach Cooley like just on and off the court? What's it like just being around Coach Cooley?
On the court, like, I'm sure everybody sees in the games, like he's real intense. Like you could tell, like if he could, he would go out there and play, put a jersey on if he really wanted to. But he's a guy, like, it's fun to play for him. He's gonna get on you when you mess up, but he's gonna be right there, big supporter when you're doing well. And he loves you. Like when he tells you he loves you, he really means it. And he's a guy that got your back no matter what. And he's somebody that's always gonna stick beside you. And playing for somebody like that during the game who's so energetic, and like you just get that feel, you get that vibe from him. Even before the game starts, his pregame talks, it just gets us fired up to ready to go out there and play. Off the court, he's a guy you can go to about anything, whether it could be school, it could be personal, it could be social. You could just pop in his office, his door's always open. He's somebody that you can just go and say, Coach, I need to talk. I just need to sit down and somebody to talk to. So I'm grateful that I got a coach like him, somebody that I can go to where I want to get better on the court, or if I see something, being able to voice my opinion to him, and him being able to listen to me, and being able to trust that he's gonna make the right decision at the end of the day. But at the same time, off the court, being able to have somebody to talk to, and not just about basketball, but about anything. Me and him, we talk about Netflix shows that we're watching, or what food we eating tonight. Small stuff like that. Being able to have that relationship with your head coach is beneficial.
I want you also to expand on it. I'm not sure if it's exactly the right words for it, but it's almost in a sense he has like that tough love for you guys, at least on the court. And I know some people might say, I think it was the final shot he took going into overtime the other day against DePaul or whatever. He comes at you, he's young at you, whatever it might be. But Then you see him also off the court and he goes and praises you. And obviously, we'll talk about it in a second. Your first year playing last year wasn't obviously the best. You had a lot of ups and downs for the season. A lot of people were writing you off, and he made sure that the media was well aware of that. I think it was a couple of weeks ago, whatever it was, and said he obviously has developed incredibly. Look how much he is now. He's showing everyone up now. Walk us through this. Go a little bit deeper in that aspect of him, like the tough love where he's obviously going to criticize you. He'll get in your face, talk to you about stuff. But at the same time, he's more than willing to me, will praise you and give you the respect that you deserve too.
Yeah, that tough love, it just comes from, him knowing what you're capable of, knowing the potential that you have. And when he sees that we're not performing at the potential that he knows we can, he knows that he got to try to bring it out of us. And whether that's getting on us or whether that's just sitting down with us and having a conversation with us, he knows how to get it done. And having somebody like me, I want to be coached hard because I know that the coaches care about me, and I want them to stay on my back. I want them to get on me when I'm messed up. But being able to have somebody that's going to get on you like that, but at the same time, when you do something good, being able to praise you and let you know that your hard work is paying off, that's a good feeling. But at the same time, he's also a guy that, he looks at the good, he takes the good with the bad, and he moves on from it and looking forward down the road of what we got to do to get better, and as a player, what I got to do to get better in order to keep producing. So, I'm definitely grateful that I know somebody, and that's my coach that has my back like he does, and being able to publicly outspeak it to the media, that just says it all right there.
I know too that he's someone that has been criticized last year, at least when once again was a COVID year and he wasn't even really able to develop guys too much because you guys couldn't have much practice. But so many people said he can't develop guys aren't developing under him, whatever. Obviously, that's not the case because we see the jump you've had, we see the jump everyone on this roster has had. So, what exactly is his development strategy? I know each coach has different philosophies and how they do it. How has he helped you develop from the time you first stepped foot on Providence campus to the day where you're at today, where you're averaging almost 20 points a game in the past 5 games? Just what does he do to develop you guys?
It's just even if it's not just like skill work or drill work, he's somebody that's going to give you, the ultimate confidence. If he knows something that you can do, he's going to keep reminding you. He's going to let you know, like when we're in practice and we're doing drills and we're going over plays, he's the guy that's right there. He's always telling you like knock that shot down, or we need you to shoot the ball. You can make that shot right there, or get in there and make a play. Like he's always giving words of encouragement while you're playing. So when you hear that from the head coach and somebody like him who gives tough love, and he knows what he's doing, and he's had great players in the past, being able to hear that from a guy like him, that just gives you the ultimate confidence. And then, he's a guy who's a gym rat as well. Like, I'll be in there shooting, or, a couple of guys will be in there doing a workout, and he'll just happen to walk in the gym and just watch you work out, or, give you some small insight on what you're doing and stuff like that. That's just thing that all factors into getting the results that you want when the games come.
And every player needs to have a relationship with a coach, and they all do. But we all know that the point guard and the coach have to have the strongest relationship 99.9% of the time. So did you two click right away? I know you didn't play your first year, so I'm sure it wasn't like that on the court connection right away. But when you did start playing then in your redshirt sophomore season last year, did you guys click right away? Did it take a little bit of time for you guys to get on the same page, or when did you guys just start clicking?
I wouldn't say we clicked right away, but he always believed in me. He always believed in what I could do. So, once I don't know when it was, but once we kind of got that like middle ground where, I understand what I got, what he needs from me, and he understands what I need from him. It's just been uphill from there, just reaching to the point that we want to get to. And even today, I'll still say some things where we got to talk some things out, or something I see or something that he sees. And being able to have that relationship from the point guard to the coach standpoint, I think is big at any level, because as a point guard, you got to be the coach on the floor. You got to know what the coach is thinking. You got to know what the coach wants, and at the same time, he knows what I want and what I see out there. So being able to talk to him about that, and finding that middle ground between us in order to, at the end of the day, we both want to win. So in order for us to win, we got to be on the same page. And, it's just the results are just showing now.
Let's hop into your very first year at Providence, which was last season. And there was so much stuff going on for everyone in the country. And obviously, you're really getting started at Providence. Probably wasn't your favorite personally, just getting ready to go out there. You have to register the first year, and then you have to deal with the COVID season. So let's go through that. You get through done with the retro season. COVID comes into play now. How did you just deal with that? What was just dealing with COVID throughout your first year of playing like?
It was real weird, like because we didn't even have the summer to come in as a team and do the off season workouts, to be around the guys, be in the gym with the coaches. I feel like that had a factor of just like kind of like the chemistry, the on court chemistry that you build with guys that you're playing with, and the coaches that you're playing for, and then going through like games being canceled or not knowing when you'll be playing all the time, and certain things like that is tough to deal with, in any program, I feel like. And then, throughout that first year I had a couple of injuries where I had to battle through, and being able to have my teammates that still have my back, and my coaches, still, believing in me and letting me know, like, this is just, a rough patch in your career, but it's not going to break you, it's going to make you. So being able to have those conversations with the coaches, because, they knew how hard I worked and how hard and how bad I wanted to be successful. So, they just stuck beside me and, didn't give up on me, and stayed in the gym with me, kept working with me, and kept having conversations with me that I felt like are paying off now, and being able to, go out there on the court and perform at the level that I'm playing at.
The thing that is most impressive to me about this year too that you're having right now is when you look back at last season, there were a lot of ups and downs, and a lot of guys that go through everything you went through last season for you might just decide, basketball not gonna be for me. I'm just gonna lose the love for the game. I might just stop working out for a little bit. Like, there's a lot of different ways guys can go down. You obviously chose to say, I'm gonna keep working hard. I'm gonna grind. I'm gonna get to this point that I'm at today because you look at the things you went through. As you said, the injury, you missed 9 games in the middle of a pandemic season, so you didn't even get the practices and all that typically like you do this year. Then you have the injury, like you said, you have to then battle through the injury rest of the year. And a lot of media was going after you saying he's not ready for this level and all the different stuff they were talking about. How did you just sit back and say, just how did you even deal with that? I know it's not easy for a lot of guys. So how did you just get through that year mentally and just keeping your confidence high?
Just always believing that, like, I always believed I was a good player regardless of what was going on, and I had a good support system behind me that ensured me that this is just another patch in a row. It's nothing that I can't get through. Just knowing my history, and always being doubted all my life, just hearing all the noise and stuff, being able to block it out and continue to doing what I know I can do is, just staying in the gym, getting better, not listening to, what people think about me or my game, and just knowing that I belong here and that I'm here for a reason. So I just got to continue to put the work in, and you never know when the results are going to show, but if you don't put the work in now, the results may never show. So just knowing that if I put the work in and stay true to myself and believe in myself, and knowing I had such great people behind me, that it will all work out for me in the end.
At the same time, too, the team obviously had a lot of ups and downs throughout the season as well. The team was obviously a load team. I mean, it was a lot of the guys on this year's roster, plus an NBA player and David Duke. And obviously, you guys go 500, 13, 13. How did you guys deal with that? Because you guys were hot for a certain portion. Then obviously, Big East play came, and obviously, you guys didn't have the best overall Big East play there. How did you guys as a team stay together? And just what was the locker room like trying to hold together in the middle of a pandemic while going through the ups and downs of a season?
We just, had conversations, just, being able to see everybody every day is just like we knew how good we could be. We see each other in the gym every day, all the time. We play against each other every day. We still knew that, we had good players on the team, and, we always met as a team, and talked, and, talked out some issues, or talked out some problems that we felt that we were having on the court. And, it's kind of unfortunate that we didn't have the season that we wanted to, but moving forward individually, I still talk to some of the guys that, aren't on the team anymore. And, we still support each other as if we're teammates now. So, I think that just goes to, having the culture that we have here is more family based. And, once you're a teammate here, you're a teammate forever, I feel like. So
Mhm.
I just feel like we still had a good group, and it's showing now that the culture that we had in the locker room, when you're able to put it all together, it could be something really special.
Let's say COVID didn't come into play last year. It was just a normal season. I know that's a tricky question because obviously every team still had to deal with it to an extent, but just you look at the talent. We see you guys are as good as you guys are this year, and a lot of you guys obviously developed too, so you guys got better. But as I said, you guys bring in David Duke then into that team and all this different stuff happening. How much better of a team do you guys think you guys would have been had COVID not been a factor? Do you guys see you guys yourself as a locked in tournament team? Do you guys see yourself as good as this year's team, if not better? Where do you feel like last year's team was talent wise?
Talent wise, last year I definitely feel like we had the pieces to be a tournament team. Not trying to make any excuses or anything, with the COVID and stuff, but I definitely think we had the talent and the players and the culture to be a tournament team. It's just unfortunate we weren't able to get the job done last year. So, I know moving forward, everybody that's on the team now and the guys that aren't on the team now, kind of using that year to just field and to keep going to get the success that they want later on.
And that was kind of lead me right into my next question I had for you. And that was you look at everything that happened from last season for you guys as a team and you personally, how much did all that fuel you throughout this past offseason getting ready for this year?
Yeah, it fueled us a lot. Like, a lot of guys that are here now, we still talk about what people were saying about us last year. And, it's cool that we're able to show what we can do now this year and, put together some wins and, just ultimately having a really fun year and having all the students and the fans behind us, it's been a great year so far. But I think last year definitely fueled us this year to keep going and to work even harder. And, we knew that people would be doubting us going into this year, and we just kind of used that as like fire to get us to play at this level. And we still feel like we're not done yet. We still feel like we don't got the respect that we feel like we earned so far. But I just feel like the more that happens, the better we're going to keep playing, the harder we're going to keep playing.
What did the offseason look like for yourself when you're looking through your overall summer, how much time you put in the gym, what you practiced and worked on? Obviously, the number jump. I mean, you shot 12% from three last year. I think that number is not really accurate just because of the injuries and everything going on, but your numbers have got so much higher in every single one. So, what was your offseason like for yourself? And just what was the amount of work that you put in throughout the offseason leading up to this year?
Oh yeah, it's been a lot of work, weight room, film, just watching a lot of film from last year and in my freshman year, and staying in the gym, and really it's just been believing in myself and finding myself, kind of like a reality check, going back to the basics of staying in the gym, not really worried too much about what's going on that I can't control, and it's really just been focused on what I can control. And I just felt like I put in so much work up to this point. If I just keep putting in the same consistent work, or working even harder, that I'll get the results that I want. And when I do get those results, I got to keep going, because you don't want to just get the results that you want and take a step back and relax. You got to keep going and keep going.
You guys are going through training camp, preparing for this season, and you guys return a lot of big pieces. Nate's back, AJ, yourself obviously is there, Noah, Ed. You guys add in then Justin, which is a huge addition, as well as Al. What was this year like when you're just getting ready? That you guys were all coming together. You guys say, okay, this is our key rotation. This is our key team right now. What were your guys' expectations? Did you guys think that you guys were going to be at the position you're at right now, 21-2, first in the Big East, pretty much being one of the top teams, in my opinion, at least a 2 seed, potentially even 1 seed in the next month? Did you guys think you guys would be this good when you guys were getting ready for the year?
Um, I wouldn't say that we thought we only had two losses up to this point, but we always thought like we had the pieces and we had a good enough team to battle in the Big East and win the Big East title. So we kind of talked about we got to get these games, and the more that we talked about it, the more we were just our confidence kept growing. And I don't know when it was, but at some point we were like, yo, we got something really special that we can do here. And we're all on the same page and we all wanted to win. Like, we got a couple of guys on the team that haven't made a tournament yet. Like, I haven't made a tournament. I don't think AJ has. I don't think Al has. I don't think Justin has. So we really only Nate. I think Nate's the only one on the team that's been to the NCAA tournament. So you got a lot of guys that want to get to that level. So we all made a lot of sacrifices and put in the hard work in order to reach that goal.
How is the chemistry in this locker room? Because a team that's 21-2 has to have incredible chemistry. Otherwise, it's not going to happen the way it has. And especially when, as we're talking about in a second, too, you had to miss some games because of an ankle injury. There's been ups and downs. There's been COVID, different stuff happening. How close are you guys? What is the locker room like this year?
We're real close, and I think everybody has everybody's back. With me going out with an injury, I told those guys like, I'm still with y'all. Like, even though I'm not on the court, I'm still right behind y'all. And in the huddles, I'm talking to everybody. I'm encouraging them, telling them what I see out there. And I feel like everybody on the team respects everybody at a certain level that, we'll listen to them and, we're going to them, asking them, what do you see out there? What can I do to improve? What can I do to get better? And then, after practice, we're grabbing guys out the locker room, like, let's go get these shots up. Let's go to the cold tub, small stuff like that, just builds chemistry, builds relationships within the locker room. So then when you go out on the court and you're in those battles with those teammates, you guys know the work that you put in. You've been around each other long enough to, build that trust with each other out there and, in order to get the wins.
Everything that you guys have accomplished so far, what's the best memory that you guys have created so far as a team?
Best memory, so far, it might be the win at Xavier when we went on the game winner, because that game was just like we knew we were going into a hostile environment and a team that was the top 25 team that was picked higher on the higher end of the Big East standings in the preseason. So we knew it would be a tough game, and we leading up to that game, we were just saying like this is a must win. Like if we want to have the season that we're having and we want to win the Big East, like we gotta have this win right here. And to be able to win that game in that fashion on the road, it was just a great experience, and how happy everybody was after that win. It was just amazing.
You go from a starter, as we talked about earlier, to then getting the ankle injury, you come back off the bench, and you've all of a sudden blown up now the past 5 games. You've been averaging almost 20 games, 19.2 points per game, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, almost 2 steals per game. What switch flipped for you? Like, what allowed you to go from being a guy just already being a pretty solid overall great point guard to now taking it to this other notch the past 5 games? What switched it for you, and just how did you elevate your game to this level now?
I think it's just my confidence level at this point. Like, I feel like I always had the skill set to be able to do some of these things, but that confidence out there separates you from other players. And I gotta credit that to my teammates and my coaches. Like they see me do things like this on a daily basis. They see how much time I put in the gym. So while we're out there, my teammates are coming up to me. I hit a shot. They telling me, keep going, don't let up. Just keep going, keep holding it down for us. And then, even when I'm not playing well, if I'm not shooting the ball well, they're telling me like, like you got it, like you put the work in, you're built for this. So it's just I just feel like my confidence level of being on the court is at a different level right now.
Was it something that just all of a sudden before the very first breakout game, did something just all of a sudden happen that day? Was it something that you just felt good all of a sudden, now it just kind of continued through? Or what was it like the very first time you broke out? What went through your mind that game?
I don't know, to be honest. Like I think I was just out there. And I probably saw my first shot go down, and then after that, I was just thinking like, this could be a great game. This feels like a good game right here. And then I wasn't out there like hunting shots or just looking for my own shot. I was just out there reacting. If I was open, I was taking a shot. If not, I'm trying to get in the lane, find guys. Just sticking to the stuff that I work on. And a lot of the shots that I've been making in these games are shots that I've been working on for weeks and months now. And even before games, I got a good pregame routine where I'm getting to my spots where I feel like based on scouting that I'll be able to get to. And I gotta just convert at that point, and putting the work in and seeing the ball go in the basket just increases your confidence and makes you believe that you can make those plays when the lights are on.
I know we talked a little about Georgetown earlier, but that was the huge game you've had, your career high, 32 points against them. Was there any extra motivation? I know you were home, so I'm sure you had the home feeling. It's cool to be home and all, but just the fact of saying, obviously I was available. I wanted to go play in the Big East. I could have went there as a portal transfer after my freshman season. You could have recruited me out of high school too. Was there any extra motivation heading to that game for you personally?
Yeah, as a competitor, that's something that you always think about. Like, it's a school that's close to me that didn't even try to recruit me. So, I'm at this level now. I can show them, the type of player I am, and it's just that, they might have missed out on something good here. But, being back at home at Georgetown, I had a lot of friends and family there. And, I didn't think I'd wake up and score 30 that day, but, I knew I had a lot of fans and friends and family there. And, people were telling me, just put on a show. Like, just you got a lot of people coming out, go out there, have fun, win. And, I was able to see a couple go down and then ended up having a career day.
I'm sure you guys have seen, I know a lot of people are saying and calling you guys, at least earlier on, the luckiest team in college. What's your thoughts on when you heard that?
It's just I think it's just a narrative that people are putting on us, but I think that just adds fuel to us. People calling us lucky. We just think we're good. We're able to close out games. So it's kind of like a joke to us now. Like after yesterday's game, I think somebody ran in the locker room was like that was a good lucky win right there, and everybody starts laughing and stuff. So we just use that to continue to get better and continue to win games. And if people want to call us lucky, they can. But at the end of the day, we're just gonna keep on winning.
Where you guys have just a little bit under a month now until we start getting the tournament play for the conference and then the big dance, which we know you guys are pretty much all but the locks going into that one now too. But what do you guys want to accomplish? Is there any statements you guys want to send? Like, what do you guys want to accomplish in the next 3 to 4 week span?
We're really focused on winning the Big East regular season right now. That's something that Providence hasn't done, I don't think ever. If not, it's been a really long time. But we got a great opportunity to, and we put ourselves in a good position where we'll be able to accomplish that. So that's kind of like our goal right now. But we know it's going to take one game at a time. So we're just looking forward to the next game ahead of us, and then trying to get through that one with a win, and then moving on to the next game, to the next game.
There's a big game this week. I know you guys know who it is, and that's Villanova, who, if we're going to kind of put a king in the conference the past couple of years, been Villanova. Obviously, they've been dominant. You guys have a very good chance. You guys are first right now. With the win, anything but except you guys have completely come apart. You guys pretty much win the Big East then. How big is this game for you guys? And just how excited are you guys as a team to be able to go up against Villanova and make another statement?
Yeah, we know what's at stake here. Like, it's nothing to just sweep under the rug. We know how big this game is for us and for them as well, if
Mhm.
they want to, get back to winning the Big East. So, we're prepared for it mentally, and we know what we got to go up against. And I think mentally we're going to be prepared. We're going to be locked in, and I feel like it's going to be a great game, and I'm looking forward to it. This is the kind of games where, if we want to accomplish winning the Big East title in the regular season, this is kind of a game that we feel like will give us a great chance to accomplish that.
When you look at eligibility wise, last year didn't count for yourself. The red shirt year obviously didn't count either. So you technically do have 2 more years available to play if that's what you choose. How do you proceed with that? Obviously, you're still focused on the season and all that, but is playing another year, playing 2 years, something that's still on the table? Is that something that would interest you, or have you maybe made your mind to an extent, or where do you kind of stand with that right now?
No, I haven't made my mind up at all. It's I wouldn't say it's a problem, but having certain options that you could pick from is a good problem to have. And I'm just fortunate to be able to have a situation where I got such great options that I could choose from in order to better myself. So yeah, I mean I haven't really thought too much into that. I kind of just want to get through the season, see how the season ends, and go from there.
I know your dreams are obviously to play pro, whether it be NBA or overseas, whatever God's obviously got in store for you. When do you feel like that would be something that you'd be ready for? Is there something that you're waiting for in terms of your own game saying, I really want to improve on this for me to feel comfortable saying, I know I can play this level now? Or when would you feel like you're ready to make a potential professional jump?
I feel like that's kind of just like a field thing, based on how the couple of seasons go that you have in college, just measuring yourself up to what the professional level wants, and if you have been able to accomplish those couple of things, then if you feel like you're ready, then why not go for it? But playing professionally, playing the NBA, that has always been a goal of mine. It's been a dream of mine. So I know the work that it takes to get there to that level, and that's somewhere I want to get to. And I still feel like I got a lot more work to do if I want to get to that level. So it's something that I think about, but I also know that it's going to take a lot of hard work to get there.
Something else that's also in your Instagram bio, and that's bet on yourself. Take us to that. Like, what does that mean to you? And why do you have that there?
I first saw it when Fred VanVleet had posted something about it. I think that's kind of like his trademark, and
Mhm.
I saw it and it was kind of cool, and I kind of just ran with it. Just you know, betting on yourself is just putting yourself in any situation, any opportunity, and just going from there, and just taking it by the reins, and just believing in yourself and knowing what you can accomplish. And And, that's just part of believing in what you can do. So, if I'm gonna bet on anybody, I'm gonna bet on myself because I got the most trust in myself. I believe in myself more than anything. So
When you do wrap up your Providence career, you move on, get away from college eventually. What do you want to be remembered for what you achieved both on and off the court?
I want the fans and the Providence community to see me as just somebody that went out there and gave it their all and just brought so much emotion to the game. Just bringing the crowd into the game, or just winning so many games in the dunk. That's just one of the best places I feel like to play in right now. We got the best fans in the country, so I just want them to remember me for what I brought to the table or how much work I put in, and just expressing how grateful I am for the support that they gave us. It's a lot that I want to be remembered for, but if it's anything, it's just that I went out there and gave it everything I could, and whether it's a good game or a bad game, I went out there and played as hard as I could.
My final thing for you, give Providence fans in the country in general your three biggest goals that you have set for the remainder of your Providence career.
Three biggest goals: Big East regular season title, and then Big East tournament, and then Final Four run. That's kind of where I think the top three is, because those three things right there: winning the regular season and winning the tournament, and then going to the Final Four or winning the national championship. I feel like those are the three biggest goals that a basketball program can achieve.
Absolutely, man. Well, Jared, I appreciate you coming on today. Congratulations on the great start so far. I'm excited to see how far God's going to take you guys this year. Keep doing your thing out there, man. And once again, I appreciate you coming on today, man.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course, man. You're always welcome on, man. God bless.
Thank you.